Ooh. This is a 1978 Honda CB750. Well, the engine from a Honda CB750. When this bike rolled in, it was in real bad shape. The wheels hardly turned, which was a mystery because the brakes were shot and they weren't on. And the bearings have turned out good since taking the wheels apart. Speaking of the brakes, looking in the master cylinder, man, it looked like brown sugar in there. I guess that's what happens to brake fluid if it's sat for, I'm guessing, over 12 years. Did some quick calculations and realised it would take more money to fix this thing up than it would be to buy a reasonable example, same quality bike. So I thought, that's right up my cup of tea, and I did what most people wouldn't, and I bought the bike just so I could see if I could fix it and get it back together and running. So we've got the top end rebuilt, it's now unstuck. We've got the carbs back together, they're also in real bad shape. Parts missing, just real varnished up inside and gummed together. So we've got both of them together on the stand here. And we're going to add on battery and some wires, and we're going to see if we can get it running with some basic stuff we've got around the shop. We could just get the engine running without the carbs, but seeing as I've bench synced them, I thought, why not get two birds in the bush with one stone and try and get this thing ticking over on its own with just some basic stuff. Okay, so the first thing we've got to do to make sure we can run this engine safely is make sure that oil is being pumped through the engine when the starter motor turns. So this oil tank, which has been strapped to the bike with an excessive amount of ratchet straps, already filled with oil. I'm just going to take off a couple of these little viewing ports, I guess. So when we do turn the starter motor over, we can see if any oil's being pumped through to there. I think they're 17s. If memory serves me correctly. Nope, that's 14. So these give you sight through to the, well, top of the valves, really. And oil should be pumped up there to lubricate as the engine runs. So we've got this extra strength with new noises. Just because that's the only battery I've got laying around. And I've already hooked up this ground cable, just attached it to one of the bolts holding on the part of the engine case. So we're just going to connect ground to negative. This cable runs from the starter motor already in the engine, and that goes to positive. So we're just going to turn it over and see if engine pumps, see if oil pumps through to the top of the engine. Yeah, I can see some oil in there. I've actually run this starter motor before, so it might actually take you longer if you're trying this yourself. You might need to hold the starter motor on a bit longer to see the oil come through. But I can see it already, so that's good. So I'm just going to pop these caps back on now. You know it's safe to run. Lovely. So the next step, if we've got the wire, it's pretty simple. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the coils on. So these coils are second hand, and I'm hoping that they're good. But it's a chance you take when you buy stuff off eBay. It's nice that they've got the engine numbers, cylinder numbers labelled on these wires. Nice. Coil 1. I know these spark plugs are good. So if we don't get spark, I'll know it's either these coils or the wires. So I've got these jumper cables which I'm going to hook up to the battery. These are really just to extend the posts here because I can't attach small wires easily to them. So first thing I'm going to do is just hook up the negative. I'm going to run this over, connect it to the metal bracket of the points. So that needs to be grounded. And I'm also going to connect the ground cable that goes to the engine casing to that as well. The next thing we need to do is connect the signal wires that come out of the points to the negative terminals of the coils. So there should be yellow and blue wire. I've got a yellow and a green cable. Close enough. So as the engine turns, these points mechanically tell the coils when to fire. So they both go to the negative, and then the positive terminals of these coils, they just need to go through to the power of the battery. So I've got two red cables here for the positives. Again, I've got this jumper cable. I'm just going to connect these crocodile clips to that, and then when we're ready, I'll just attach the other end of this jumper cable to the positive post of the battery. Good enough. The other thing we need to do is hook up the fuel line to the carbs here. Now, I don't know where I'm going to hang it. I've got this external fuel tank, a little bit of fuel in there, but I need to hang it higher than the carb bowls. And I don't have anything. What's that? Will that work? It seems like a silly idea. Is that gonna be high enough? Get on there. Well, it's high enough. Why not? Let's do that. Whoa, yeah. Easy. Okay, is that better? That's better. Get in there. Oh, yeah. That'll do. Oh, flathead screwdrivers. They are just not convenient compared to crossheads. Why? Tight enough. Okay, I'm going to bring the camera in here, just walk around, and then you can see the wiring. Oil tank just plumbed in to the engine. We've confirmed that the oil's getting pumped up there when the starter motor turns. We've got the battery hooked up. We've just got these jumper cables going to the posts to extend the wires out. The positive wire, they split out into these two, and these go to the positive terminals of the points, the coils. The negative wire from the battery, that is connected to the metal bracket of these coils, and also the ground wire. And we've also got the wire that comes from the points, splits off into these two wires, and these go through to the negative connections on the coils here. Quick idiot check. Can't see anything that's obviously wrong. So we're going to attach the positive cable, which will send power through to the coils. We've got the fuel line in. Just going to turn that on. Oh, there. Easy now. That fuel should be flowing through, but I'm just going to hold this up in the air temporarily to make sure some fuel goes through to the bowls there. That should be enough to run it, even if the fuel doesn't flow continuously. So we've got power through. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to play with the choke here as the engine runs. If it does start up, I'm just going to bring my screwdriver in here and just tweak on this accelerator a little, just to see how it reacts to feeding it more fuel. So let's get the starter motor connected and see what happens. Maybe I need to flip the signal wires here, the points. So these are the ones that go into the negative terminals. Let's see if that makes a difference. Oh yeah, you hear it pop? So that should be wired up correctly. Now we just need to play around with how much fuel is coming through in air. So the fuel should be good. Get a screwdriver out. Get this ready. Bit of a three-handed job, this. Oh, so close there. I think too much air is getting through, so if I hold this all the way in to reduce the amount of air coming through, that should then fire. Oh, so close. It needs a little bit more fuel, so I'm just going to adjust the idle here. Wrong way. Come on. That's it. See what that does. Excellent. Whew. Bit of fumes in here. So I'm just checking each of these exhaust pipes, see if they're hot, and they are. So that means all 4 cylinders were firing as well. So we got this engine running for maybe the first time in decades. By the looks of the condition of the bike when it came in, it hadn't run for a long time. So it's pretty exciting to get this thing up and running again, all 4 cylinders firing. And you really only need some cheap stuff that you've probably got lying around your garage already. I mean, it's pretty cool that this engine can get up and running without needing to be sent off to a specialist shop and have specialist work done on it. So, yeah. I encourage you to try it yourself and get it up on a stand and get it running. How much exhaust can you inhale before it's actually dangerous, I wonder?